running a coping stone in here from concrete and finished with sand cement, like a render coating. That's my working out, how I was going to achieve my finish and what sort of finish I want. And there's another wee peek into what I sort of want at the end. So I'm going to show you all the steps I took to do this. Mistakes were made and lessons were learned, so if I was doing this more often, I'd get a much better result far quicker. I have enjoyed making this coping stone. Have it all finished at the end of this video so you can get a wee peek at it. And on this first part, the smallest coping stone on the whole wall, I actually used, for the concrete, I have used post-Crete, as I had a bag left over, and with it being more rapid setting, I thought I could get the top coat on quicker. And with my running mould here, you can see I have it's not metal, there is metal there, but I have a wooden template over it, and basically that's called the muffle. So I wanted to muffle it down and leave myself sort of, I think I left myself about 5-6 millimeters to be able to render over with the render coat then, same day. Wanting to do it always on the same day, didn't want to leave it to the next day, so that it would bond well. Quite enjoyable to do. Like I say, it's not a job you would do all the time, and the shape I wanted, it came out pretty well. It's pretty much the shape I wanted, but I wanted to try and design a big drip duct as well, so that the water would drip away very good. And just as this is setting, I just key it up for my render coat to go on top, which is sand cement. So my plan with this is to do a good strong concrete mix, which post-Crete is, and then a 4:1 sand cement mix over the top for a finish coat. And again, sort of doing things as I go along and learning things as I go along as well. Running sand cement's not the easiest thing, but the shape I've went's not too crazy. I was going to put a V on the front end, but I was talked out of it as it might just have been too time consuming, so I just went for something. It's actually looks like a mini shape, you know, but I wanted something with a wee bit of detail but nothing too special. And so basically I was using the running mould for this job, refined a bucket scoop, and this Innova trowel as well to help flatten it in. And like I said, just on the smallest bit first, and the reason for that was just sort of get the confidence up and get a feel for it, and make sure my running mould and that was going to work, and I was going to be able to finish it in and stuff as well. And as you can see, it shapes up pretty well when I'm striking it. So I'll talk about the batons that I've used here to create the shelf, basically, so that the rainwater will drip away from my end product, which will be the rendered walls below. What I've done is I plumbed a baton along and then built off it with some scrap wood from a previous job. There was some scrap wood, and it's pretty well laminated, so you know the render should break away easy. You don't need to use any release agents, but like somebody suggested, cooking oil, you know, you could use cooking oil for instance as a great release agent, but I just opted for that. Sort of has a veneer on it, so the render and the concrete should come away easy enough. But of course that's where I made some mistakes and learned plenty of lessons, things that I probably really should have done better with from the start. And this is me on the second part, a bit of a longer stretch. You will notice I did not get lucky whatsoever with any weather. Basically every time I went to finish, anything bigger, it started to rain, and rain pretty heavy. Although it is warm, so my stuff is picking up well, it did, it did cost me some real nightmares. But that did shape in well. And like I said, so myself, I built. What I did on this next big piece is, the mistake I made is, well, not here, but I buried my screws into the wall, so I made it very difficult to release the baton. So I actually had to put a grinder up onto the baton and cut my nails and fixings so that I could release the timbers down. So that lesson was learned very quickly, and I didn't do that again. That also caused me to damage the coping stone in 2 different places, which I had to repair, but it repaired very well, as the render was pretty green when I repaired it, so not too bad. What you can see me doing here is putting some nails in, and what they'll do is they'll help grip the concrete, so when I'm pulling it won't just all slide up or slump, and hopefully give a bit of a mechanical key as well. Using stainless steel nails, although if they rust, I'm not too bothered, as this is as much of an experiment for myself to see the outcome and how strong my render itself can be in my mixes. I was tempted to use wire mesh as well, but I didn't really think it would add much more strength than the concrete I was going to use. And this is what I was talking about weather. It absolutely poured down, just continuous when I was finishing this. Stuff sort of set up very nicely when I was working with it, but I got it pretty much finished, and then sort of walked away thinking it'll stop raining and it'll pick up and I can sponge it up later. That didn't happen, it just kept raining, so I had real problems finishing it up with being wet. As you can see, the rain's just continuous there, and it took me a long time before I decided to cover it up, because I thought it will stop raining, but you know what they say here, usually if you don't like the weather you wait 10 minutes, but in this case the rain just wasn't for stopping. And I'm not sure if you see there in front of the land, I also do some bands around it too. Hopefully going to run some more moulds around that top of that land corbel and come up with something nice, and hopefully something very nice and therapeutic for you guys to watch. I found working on this pretty therapeutic and not too bad, bar the rain. You can see the wee shelf there where I just did the wee band. But again, you can see as I start here on, this is another day, a lovely day, really warm all day, and fancy it did start to rain, so not too fun when it came to finishing, as it was proving difficult, but definitely something I would enjoy doing again as well. And some of the corners where I meet when I meet coping stone to coping stone, I sort of curved it in and got it looking pretty sharp in my opinion. So pretty unique. I didn't want the way the walls sit. They're all 3 different levels. The small bit's higher, the middle bit drops down a bit, and then this big longer bit, it just sort of slightly drops down a bit again. And this time I was much quicker to get my work covered up. As you can see, dust sheets down, getting it covered, but again the dust sheets kind of with the wind sort of it didn't just finish as nice as the other ones with the dust sheets on earlier, and that's the corner I was saying about. This one I've left a bit thinner as well. You can see the front edge just isn't as heavy, and bull-nosed that side down. And I did have some nice footage of it all the coping stone done, but I didn't want to give away the next videos, as there's some more videos coming up on this DIY project of mine, and I didn't really want to give away what I've done. I kind of want to get that uploaded and show off some more detail work that I've done on this as well. So that's the wee curve. Should add a bit of strength to it all as well, but I think it looks well enough. I'm tempted also to do acrylic render on it in the future, in a few years time, possibly put acrylic render on it, but I'll wait for that one. And here's where my lessons were learned, guys. That bit broke off when I had to fight to get the nails out, and there was one screw still in. There's the tools. That was the main tools used on this. Wasn't the Hawk and Trowel used on this job. They were the main tools, the Innova. And that's a shot of something that will be up and coming. Another fancy thing. And here's a picture of me blocking in my fixings to the wall. And I've got a hell of a drip so the rain won't run away.